The back-to-back winter storms have left behind record snow, making life difficult for just about everyone and turning even basic daily activities like getting into work into gargantuan tasks. But for seniors with limited mobility, dependent on critical services, these obstacles are especially acute. WGBH News reporter Craig LeMoult took a ride with Meals on Wheels to see how they are coping.
Max Denny has been loading up the back of his car and bringing hot meals to homebound people since 1998. It's a good job, he says, and he's greeted warmly by the people he visits each day.
They're nice, really. All of them.
Most days he likes the job, but lately...
No. Too much snow.
Even in all this snow, Denny makes 35 stops a day. And with the steep snowbanks, it can be incredibly difficult to navigate through it all and almost impossible to find a place to park. Once he's found a spot for the car, it can be treacherous getting to the front door. But when he gets there, he's met by people who really need the help he brings.
Sometimes I can go out, it's cold, and when it's windy, like a couple of days ago, it was too windy. I can't even go outside.
Dale Mitchell is the executive director of Ethos, a nonprofit that provides services for 1,200 elderly people in Southwest Boston. He says 35,000 elderly people in the Commonwealth receive in-home care.
The biggest risk that an older person faces in terms of quality of life and well-being is isolation. And there is no more isolating event than the kind of snowfall that we've had in the past 2 weeks.
So far, there have been 4 days where their staff just couldn't reach the elderly people who need their help. And it's not just food. Ethos helps elderly people get bathed and dressed and other essential tasks. And home nurses and other care agencies need to reach the elderly too.
We can't get the services that they need to be safe at home into them unless the streets are adequately shoveled, and many of the services that we provide are absolutely essential for an elder's well-being.
People like Carolyn Silva, who really relies on the food Denny brings.
I have my big meal at lunchtime when they bring it, and then, I'll have like sandwiches or something like that.
It's impossible for her to go outside on days like this, and she's so grateful to Denny, who she says is no spring chicken himself.
Hey, I told him, I said, if you don't feel like it, just tell him I'm sorry. I'm going to go hibernate. And I wouldn't blame him in the least. I wouldn't, because he's so reliable.
And Adam, Dale Mitchell of Ethos says if you're concerned about elderly people in your community, the single best thing that you can do is dig them out, is get them clear so they can get in and out. And it's not just about them being able to get out, it's also about being able to get the services into them.
On those 4 days that Ethos could not provide their services, what did the people they serve do?
Well, at the beginning of the winter, Ethos gives a storm package to those families that they serve, and there's canned goods and other non-perishables in there. This year, they have given a second storm pack because the need has just been that great.
All right, Craig LeMoult, thank you.
You're welcome.
For more on this issue, I'm joined by Emily Shea, who's headed up Boston's Elderly Affairs Commission for the past 4 years. Emily, welcome to Greater Boston.
Thank you, Adam.
So tell me about the range of problems you are seeing seniors face in Boston right now.
Sure. So I think we saw a few in that piece. Certainly some of the meal delivery has been disrupted, but we have a very strong system across the state and in the city of Boston where we make sure people get the storm pack so that they still have some meals. Certainly it's challenging for people to get out, to get to medical appointments. It's hard for people to get out and walk because it's snowy and it's icy out there. Shoveling, making sure people get shoveled out is definitely a challenge. There's a whole range of issues that come into play in the ice and the storm, especially if you're more frail or have some mobility challenges.
How often do you see people who maybe should not be trying to shovel out their full walk or their full driveway doing it just because they're determined and maybe even obstinate and they don't want somewhere else to do it? They want to take care of it. Is that frequent?
Certainly. So I think that one of the great things about a lot of people as they grow older is that they want to remain independent. And we want to promote people's independence, but we also want people to take the care that they need to take to make sure that they stay safe.
It seems like that'd be a tricky balance to get people to strike sometimes, right?
You know, it certainly is, and that's why you know, that's why it's really important, I think, for communities to come together at this time and really work and help each other to shovel out. There's just so much snow out there.
I feel like I've heard Mayor Walsh call a dozen times for people to, you know,
Yes.
check in on, you know, neighbors who might not be
Yes.
capable of doing this and help them out. Do you have a sense of whether people are heeding the mayor's call to do that?
You know, I think we are seeing people come together. We have a number of people that are calling us at the city saying they're having snow shoveling challenges, and when we follow back up with those people, we found in almost every single case they have found somebody to help them shovel out, and we're really working to encourage both people to help the older adults in their neighborhoods, but also to have the older adults reach out to people to get assistance.
So if you get a call like that from an 80-year-old man or woman who says, I can't shovel out, I need someone to help me, what do you tell them to do? You say go knock on a neighbor's door? Or?
Yeah, so we walk them through all of the people in their life that maybe could provide some assistance. So do you have family in the neighborhood? Do you have friends in the neighborhood? Tell me about your neighbors. How did you get shoveled out last time it snowed? How did you get shoveled out last year? And we really encourage people to call on those relationships. I think that a lot of times, even if someone isn't thinking, oh, let me go shovel Mr. Jones out, if Mr. Jones reaches out, they're more than willing to come and help.
How can people call you if they want help?
Sure. So it's very easy to reach the city. So we can be reached through the mayor's hotline. It's a 24-hour hotline, and that number is 617-635-4500.
And we should point out this is for Boston residents, right?
This
if you
is
live
a
in
hotline.
Gloucester, you can't do too much for...
Exactly. This is a hotline for Boston residents, but it's fully staffed. We're answering calls 24 hours a day, and we want to hear from people, and we want to be able to give people the information that they need.
All right, Emily Shea, thank you for being here.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for having me on, Adam.